Mantra token is collapsing, and if you're holding this token, you're not in luck. If you're thinking about buying this token, watch this video first before making a buying decision. Now let's jump into the chart to understand exactly what happened for Mantra OM token. I currently opened the Mantra DAO chart, and what I can see in this token, let me just quickly remove my indicators so they don't disturb us. We can see that within two hourly candles, Mantra has collapsed from $6 to actually below $1. Now, Mantra shot up from 50 cents to above $1, actually doubling the money, doubling in value, and now it's printing a red candle once again. If you're thinking about buying this token, think again. I don't recommend buying this token right now because we are basically gambling. There is no predefined rules on what to do in those kind of situations. These situations are rare, and actually they only bring losses for the investor. Usually, after a big drop, there's always a pump to the upside. However, after a pump, the currency usually bleeds or it dumps once again. We already have two similar examples in the past. This is a Luna chart, and similar situation happened with Luna in 2022 when the currency collapsed from above $100 to below $1. And voila, the very first time Luna dumped hard, it went down by 70%, was on the 10th of May 2022. Sure, then again we got a green candle, and investors thought that the Luna is already consolidating and they might earn money now by simply buying the dip, okay? However, it was not a dip, it was a fundamental issue with the blockchain, which is exactly what we have right now with Mantra, and currency again dumped down hard. It dumped about 99%, basically wiping out every single investor, and then it slowly bled to the downside. Okay, it slowly bled. Now it was reintroduced once again by issuing a new Luna token, but we've seen exactly the same situation. There was nothing new in the blockchain, and token was simply going down. And most wishful investors that thought that they're buying the token for a very low price, they got liquidated after a while. Okay, now this exactly the same thing happened with the FTX. Remember the FTX exchange, right? They had an FTT token. Well, they still have, right? The token went from $25 to below $2 in 2022 as well. Again, we can see a very similar pattern right here. We go down first. We basically make a new bottom right here. Many people buy the dip. You can see a green candle, okay, just to dump one more time. And after that dump, whatever comes next, a slow bleeding phase where most of the investors actually lose money. Okay, you don't want to be one of the investors. Now, there was a consolidation phase for about 1 to 2 months, and FTT token actually went up, and it nearly tripled in value, in my opinion, right? We can see the token went up right here to basically $4 from below $1. So actually it did 4x. However, basically you had so much time to invest. You didn't have to rush into the market. So in these situations, you also don't have to rush. Now, nobody knows exactly what happened. However, in these situations, if the token dumps by 90%, there's someone in the team, a market maker, a team member, or maybe a large investor that simply dumps their tokens. If someone dumps their tokens like this, that means that there's a fundamental problems in the project itself. Okay, so you don't want to hold this token. Look, if we go to Twitter, we see that one guy actually predicted a similar situation just a couple of days ago before it happened. Now, Mosey posted this message right here, a sell order of $5 million worth of Mantra tokens. Now, this is an OTC deal, and for you to understand what is an OTC deal is when someone, a large investor, a team member, or market maker wants to liquidate a portion of their tokens that they're holding. They're looking for OTC dealers, basically people that can liquidate their tokens slowly without affecting the price quickly. Okay, now somebody did a bad job here. Either the OTC dealer simply sold all their tokens and did a bad job, or simply a market maker started selling too quickly and affected the price aggressively. Now, whatever happened, if a project is basically selling an OTC deals of that size, it means that there is something wrong with the project. Now, there are some people who actually invested millions of money into OM, into Mantra, and I am sure that they're going to sue the project team because nobody is happy about the situation, and the situation should simply not occur. But the most saddest thing for me is actually for people who believed in the project from the early days and they invested in the pre-seed or the seed round. These people, they didn't even have a chance to touch the token. If you go to CryptoRank.io and if you click on investing and select Mantra, you will see that most of the seed investors or pre-seed investors, they didn't even unlock their tokens yet. They're still waiting for a year or even 2 years after the project launch to start unlocking their tokens. So the project went bankrupt without them unlocking the tokens. The only unlocked tokens right now are from the legacy OM tokens and from ecosystem. It means that someone who possesses or possessed those tokens started to dump them hard. Now, I didn't possess any OM tokens, and one of the reasons is because I follow cycles, and my cycle indicators showed 3 sell signals before this disaster happened. Let's jump into the chart and analyze what actually my indicator showed right here. Now, if I zoom out the graph a little bit and I delete everything that I did posted here before, I can see 3 big arrows right here, and I can see cycle indicators at the bottom. If you want to get access to those cycle indicators, you simply have to subscribe to strategymaster.io. You will see the link in the description down below. You will see this website right here. You go to this website, you subscribe, and you learn everything about cycles, cycle indicators, buy and sell signals. Back to the chart, we can see 3 sell signals right here. You see with number 1, 2, 3, and actually 4 sell signal right after the buy signal. So what happens here is basically the cycles were at the top. Basically, we had a sell signal. So if you traded using my strategy and you traded OM, and it is totally fine. You were out of the market before the disaster happened. Now, did the cycle see the happening disaster? Not at all. However, the cycle stopped just before the mantra totally collapsed, and it was really a good thing to do. And basically, that's an example that any altcoin can simply lose most of its value within moments. The reality is you should not hold altcoin for a year and believe that something great will happen. Every single altcoin, including XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, can simply collapse within days. Of course, it depends who is controlling the supply and who has most of the supply. And in Mantra case, most probably just a couple of people controlled the majority of the supply. Of course, in Ethereum token, it's not the case. Ethereum is a big project, and there are many people who participate in the ecosystem and hold large quantity of tokens. However, in any smaller chains and any smaller tokens, there is always a risk, and they can always collapse when one person holds at least a couple of percentage of the supply, starts dumping and starts selling. All your hopes and all your tokens can simply vanish if one investor decides to sell. Now, I want to clear the doubts of people saying that, hey, we are starting a bear market just because this event happened. And I want to see that that's totally not the case. If we go to the Ethereum chart right now, we can see that, hey, my strategy, the cycle strategy, is printing sell signals right here. What does it mean? It means that we are going to most probably go sideways, or we are going to dump a little bit, okay? So it's very normal to expect a dump. It has nothing to do with Trump tariffs. It has nothing to do with OM token. It has nothing to do with what's happening in the market. Markets move in cycles, and people find news and attach those news to, and build narratives out of them. And that's what they explain the price action. That is not how market works. Market moves in cycles, and cycles don't care about the news. So now it's very normal for us to actually go sideways, go down. It's not the time to enter the market and to buy. You simply have to wait until these cycles, they go down to re-enter the market once again. And how do you know when to re-enter the market once again? Subscribe to Strategy Master, subscribe to this video right here, because I'm doing videos every single day where I explain about cycles, I show Bitcoin and altcoin cycles, and I trade cycles myself. So if you want to profit from cycles, let's do it together. Forget mantra, don't get wrecked, and let's make money in this market together.